Hey, Steelers Nation. So there has been some buzz going around the internet about the Steelers bringing in Markus Golden on a visit. And I want to just break down what this actually would mean. If Marcus signs with the Steelers, realistically, where is he going to be in the mix, in the fold with this? And should the Steelers actually move forward? So Markus Golden, if you're like me, I had no idea who he was because he's only played on bad teams. 7 years with the Arizona Cardinals, 2 years with the Giants. Overall, when we look upon his numbers, he's had flashes at times. And you can make the argument, well, it's hard to get sacks when your team's always losing. That's a true statement. It really is hard to get sacks if people aren't throwing against you. But what we see in his seasons is that he's had a lot of inconsistency. He's on the field last year for over 70% of the snaps and only got 2.5 sacks and 48 tackles overall. This is with J.J. Watt on the other side, who put up 11 sacks, which means that J.J. was always getting the double teams and the better coverage. And why do we want someone who's going to be 32 potentially coming into a mix when he wasn't able to do it with, all respect to JJ, the lesser Watt at this point in time? Why would we want to bring him in? Now, you can make an argument that part of this is just to put leverage in the negotiations with Highsmith. I don't put any stake in that at all. Highsmith is a top 10 pass rusher in this NFL, and he's easily fit into this lineup. As I'll put in the end of this episode, I'll break down of that from yesterday. So I don't think it's a negotiation ploy at all. I actually think that's beneath Khan in a lot of different ways. So I discount that line of argument. The question is, well, do you think bringing in a depth guy who can, bring some extra lumber and juice would be a good idea? On the surface, I'm not against that concept. I'm against it in this case, and here's why. I want a guy who had juice consistently, but the reason he tailed off is because he had to come off the field. And I get that this is a Hall of Famer reference I'm about to make, but Von Miller is the example here. Someone who, when he was out there, made plays regularly. He just is saving his body now for the playoffs. Obviously, Von Miller got hurt last year, so he was basically not active, but that's the kind of talent. And I'm not saying it needs to be exactly as high as Von Miller, but consistency is the number one thing I'm looking for. Even if he's a 9-sack-a-year guy, but that's what he was doing. A half a sack per game played. That's basically what I'm looking for. And Golden doesn't give you that. He just doesn't. So on this depth chart, do I realistically think that he would be the number 3 edge rusher? No, I don't think he's going to beat out Herbig. So Herbig as the number 3 edge rusher is phenomenal for this team. Because yes, it's coming from college, but nearly a sack per game. It's going to be able to give you that juice off the edge. And if we're looking at this for an upgrade to become the 3rd edge rusher, Markus Golden is not going to be the answer. I mean, he's just not going to do it. Sure, another veteran in the room, maybe he can fight for camp. We'll see. But we will know by the contract, because the Steelers don't lie with their contracts about what they expect out of people, especially the guaranteed money. I broke down in the previous episode about how Khan is being amazing by doing 2-year contracts. I believe it is part of the reason why the Steelers' buy-in rate overall is so high, and it gives you so much flexibility. Because at the end of that Philadelphia game last year, if all of our team, a third of it, as some teams in the NFL are, about a couple of them, including the Houston Texans, were on 1-year deals, and you're not making the playoffs. Remember, ESPN had us gauged as the 3rd pick overall in their power index selection after that Philadelphia loss. If your team's all 1-year contract guys and they're about to hit free agency, they're out the door starting to train, starting to think about next year. They're not coming back from the ticky-tack injuries. But that's not what happens with the Steelers. Because A, they're signed for next year. They have to buy into this staff. They have to prove themselves here. And it's a buy-in factor that really is hard to measure, but but it has massive ramifications. So we'll see. And the other part with that is the way the contract structures them. The guaranteed money isn't crazy. So it's not like you're getting half of it guaranteed of the whole contract. It's you get half of year one guaranteed. And year two, if you're still around, you're going to get a pay bump. But at that point, we'll figure it out. And I think that that's probably the best way to do that. So if we get Markus Golden, I don't even want half of the first year guaranteed, because I believe there's a very strong likelihood that when they put the pads on at Latrobe, he's not going to stand up. And we're going to have these conversations like, well, Markus Golden can't get around Dan Moore. What does that mean? Is Dan Moore going to be the starter? Is Markus Golden a bust? It's Markus Golden just isn't the edge rusher. That's going to be the fact of the game. So again, I don't want to just poo-poo this. I mean, it's an interview with a veteran, and it's a time of the year where we need to have good stories. But the simple fact is that at best he beats out Roche, but Roche does special teams, so I'm not even sure he takes Roche's roster spot when it's all said and done. So that's being said, Steelers Nation, I hope you guys are enjoying the shorter format. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. And as always, if you have any contact person at any of the Steelers charities, please reach out to me at my contact page, at least Business Conversations, so that way I can reach out to them and have them in the show during the summer months here. So thank you guys very much. We'll be with y'all tomorrow. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go.